All right, everyone. So we're going to react to this dev diary for the new Lego Batman game. Okay, I think I watched it already, and I think this thing's going to be awesome. All right, so let's live react.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Smith. All of us here at TT Games, alongside DC, WB Games and the LEGO Group, are very, very excited to show you this new look at LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight.
So before we watch it all the way through here, I want to look at this. Look at Bane. I love these Lego games. Take a look at freaking Bane. What a badass he looks like, huh? And the combat looks pretty cool.
At LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. This is the
Which is sorry. There's the Joker, Arkham. Wow. Wow.
is the definitive Batman experience, with dynamic combat, an incredible open-world Gotham City, and an epic, era-spanning Batman adventure that can only exist in a LEGO world.
So the combat, right, reminds you what games kind of really, I mean, this combat system has been talked about for years, right? The Arkham games, right? You had this great combat system. Looks pretty, I have no clue what the details of it, but it looks pretty good so far in this game here, right? How they have the combat working. And it looks like it's a similar vibe to it. You then have the open world aspect, which for a Lego game is obvious and really important. But the other part is, and I'm not sure everybody caught this, you have era spanning Batman, right? So the point of this game is kind of a, at least from what we're seeing here, is a long look at the history of Batman. And that adds so much heads, enemies, outfits, everything like that. So super freaking cool.
Today, for the first time, we're taking you deep underneath Wayne Manor. The Batcave. It starts as little more than a hole in the ground, filled with bats. Bats and the stuff left behind by bats. And also fear. But as Batman learns to use that fear and grows into a Gotham City legend, the Batcave grows along with him. Over the course of our story, you'll excavate and expand the Batcave. It's the base of all Batman operations, where you'll build your collection of Batsuits and the ultimate garage of Batmobiles.
So think about that. We just talked about it with the eras, right? You have Batman starting right at the beginning, and as you go through the story, it progresses and it grows, and you become more of a beast, right? You get more stuff with Batman. That's awesome. I love this take on the game. You get to play through, okay, the beginning stages of Batman and build him until he's, what we know of him now. All of that is so freaking cool. You can see there's upgrades here. Holy crap. Holy crap.
You'll upgrade your gadgets and skills. You'll exhibit trophies from your adventures and adversaries, and you can really make the place your own by collecting and building a huge variety of LEGO furnishings and equipment.
Muscle.
LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight features capes, cowls, and costumes from every Batman era. From 0 year to 89, from Bronze Age to Dark Knight. You can even assume the identity of Zur-En-Arrh. Or this guy.
And this is kind of the beauty of this being a Lego game versus like, a normal like Arkham game, because you can get away with having a story that has a little silliness to it, while still telling a great Batman story. You can have wild outfits and wild things included in with the serious story that you can only get away with in Lego games, right? If you do that in an actual Batman like Arkham game, people go, I don't know if I like that. But this, you go into it knowing that that's part of it, and I think that adds so much more depth, right? They're able to get so much deeper instead of kind of the dark tone that the Arkham games would take, which they have to, right? Because that is the story. everything there, it just feels like there's so much replayability, so much stuff we're going to be able to get and do and enjoy throughout.
The Bat Computer.
Hey, whoa, wait a minute. You can't.
Batman's supercharged repository for all his case files, progress data, and screensavers. Keep track of your collectibles and make sure you found those last Wayne Tech chips. Batman does love his toys and has the resources to fight crime with the Waynest of tech. Grapple over to the workbench and upgrade your gadgets. Throw a concussive batarang that disorientates every wrongdoer in the area. Or upgrade your Batclaw to turn your enemies into minifigure wrecking balls.
Who are you?
There are dozens of new options here. Be a good partner in crime fighting and upgrade your allies' equipment too.
Meow.
This is just what they're showing us right now. Think about this. Look at the depth of content that's here. I mean, you're upgrading your stuff. You have all these gadgets. You can go to the main computer there and take on these missions. Awesome.
And of course, every Batcave needs an amazing collection of vehicles. Lego Batman gives you the garage of your dreams. The Batmobile from The Batman. The 1966 classic. The Dark Knight Batpod. The Tumbler. And many more. Race. Blast, drift, and crash your way down the dark streets of Gotham City. Then, if you need a minute after a long night of crime fighting, you can relax with some pinball. Or a Lego Batman the video game. Or just... Become Batman. Defend Gotham City. Build the legacy.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This game has a lot to it, and like I said, the Lego take on it gives a lot more of a ability to do wacky stuff that you wouldn't probably want to do in a normal Batman or superhero game. But we dealt with kind of a jokey type game with Suicide Squad, right? In that game, for good reason, a lot of people were like, you know what, this just isn't. It's like I actually thought Suicide Squad was fun, but it wasn't a superhero game in any way, shape, or form. It was not what people wanted. This feels like it could deliver exactly what people want. A love letter to Batman, which that's at the end of the day, all people want from these games. Fill it with all of this stuff, and I just think, at least from what we've seen released to the public so far, this has a real chance. A real chance to be one of those all-timers. We got the Arkham games, those are great. Think back to the Lego Star Wars games and how good those were. In the Batman universe has so much you could do. So much. And we're also gonna have, his people who are his allies and stuff. Just go down the list, right? It is endless possibility with a game like this. And it seems like they're, at least from what they're presenting, because like I said, we haven't played it yet. But at least what they're presenting, they know exactly what makes a good superhero game, which is taking people and putting them into the shoes of Batman. That's what we want. And if you could deliver that and give all of that, this thing will be a major success. And I have to say, just so based off this, I don't want to get too hyped, but it seems like there's a real possibility that we have an all-timer here in this game. All right. Thank you all for watching.